Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Judaism and Jewish. Like most of you, I didn't know anything about this religion until we started studying this class. 0.2%, which is about 14 million people, make up the Jewish tradition and religion. They mostly live in Israel. Let me give you a brief timeline of how this religion started. In 18 BCE, Abraham and Sarah began their journey to Judaism. In 1250 BCE, Moses led the Hebrews out of Egyptian bondage. 1000 BCE, King David unites and grows the kingdom. 950 BCE, King Solomon builds the first temple in Jerusalem, which unfortunately later gets destroyed. In 722 BCE, Assyrians destroy northern Israelite kingdom, and then they disperse the 10 tribes. That's when Judaism and Jewish, that's when they split. That's when they had to go different ways. In 586 BCE, Babylonians overthrew the southern kingdom, and that is when they destroyed King Solomon's temple. They also took the Jewish and Judeans to Babylonia. In 428 BCE, the second temple was dedicated by Ezra and Nehemiah. In 164 BCE, Hashman revolt against the Greek rule, and in 70, the second temple was destroyed by the Romans. In 135, Bach-Harab rebellion happened. In 200, Messiah Confide happened. In 500, Babylonia Ptolemaic Confide. In 492, Jews were expelled from Spain. In 1818, mass immigration to the Americas began. 1938, the Holocaust began. In 1948, the State of Israel was declared. And then recently, in 1972, the first American woman rabbi was ordained. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what we're looking at. The Jewish, they study from a thing that's the first 5 books of the Bible called the Torah, and that's their teachings. That's where their laws and their traditions come from. Why do we study Judaism? Well, that's kind of simple when you look at it. Judaism is the basis for Christianity and Islam. No, they're nothing alike in certain ways. In certain ways they are. The main way that they're alike is they all believe that there's only one God. That's it. They just believe there's one God, there's not multiple gods. So that's why we look at Judaism, because that's what based Christianity and Islam. They believe that God made the world and created man and woman in his own image. The Jews are God's chosen people. One day the Messiah will come to rebuild the temple, gather all the Jews back, and take them to the Holy Land of Israel and bring world peace. All people are equal and should be treated with love and respect, is how the Jews feel. However, the Jews feel that Jesus is not God, the Son of God, or a person of Trinity. And that is because they do not feel that he fulfilled messianic prophecies that established the criteria for him to become the Messiah. Tell you something that I learned that was kind of neat about Jewish temples and the priests, is that the priests used to have to put bells and tie a rope on their foot when they entered the city or the temple, and they went to the room of Holy of Holies once a year. Why did they wear that? Well, this is what I found interesting. They wore that bell and they wore that rope on their foot because when they went in to the Holy of Holies, if God did not accept their sacrifice or God did not hear them, they would die. And then they would pull them out they would hear the bell stop ringing, and they would pull the priest out by the rope on his foot. Just saying, not going in the room of Holy of Holies. Not me. Some things about the Jewish that are very interesting is that they have a kind of a neat little meal plan. All meat must be kosher, and you can't mix meat and cheese, meat and dairy, meat and milk. Nothing like that can be mixed. I would have a problem with that because I really like hamburger helper, And I like my cheese mixed with my hamburger meat. Just saying. The Jews also have many things that they celebrate. One of the biggest things is Passover. And that's where, like when we see on the video, the cedar plate. The cedar plate is one hard-boiled egg, one shank bone, mortar mixture, which is made with apples, nuts, wine, and spices, a piece of lettuce, parsley, and horseradish. Not how we party, but that's how they do it. They also celebrate Hanukkah. They celebrate Yom Kippur. The one thing that Jews do that are quite different from some of our religions and some of our beliefs is when a person passes or a person dies, they don't believe that you can embalm them. They don't believe that they are allowed to be cremated. They believe that you bury them within 24 hours of the death. You put them back in the ground and they return back into the soil. Then they have a week-long service for that death so that people can mourn. Before we wrap this up, I want to talk real quickly about the Holocaust. That's what got to me in this whole chapter and in this whole religion studying. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. I could not imagine how that could happen. How did nations not help? How did nations not know this was going on? And this is what happened. Hitler was a elected official. Yeah, folks, we put him in office, or someone put him in office. And Hitler blamed the Jews for Germany's loss in World War I. So he thought they were a weak people and that he didn't need them. So I still can understand why anybody wouldn't stop it. Well, when Hitler was elected, then he was the controller of the newspaper. He was controller of the radio station, the media, all that. And therefore, no one knew anything was going on. So that just kind of tells you about Judaism, what I've learned, what I think is important, and I hope it helped you all in some way.